Thank you very much. Thanks to Gera and this place, the cultural restaurant, to host us. Thanks to the University of Barra to join us. First, as a lot of people ask me here in Ethiopia and outside Ethiopia, why you stand up for Amharic? Who gave you this idea? How you have the idea to campaign for Amharic to be an official language of African Union? It's because the first time I came for the African Union Summit, it was between 2008 and 2009. I went in the African Union office, and I went to see all the translations, and I saw that there is no translation in Amharic, not Giz written. I was surprised and I was shocked. I'm a linguist too. And I know that Giz is one of the most ancient alphabets in the world. I know that it's written here in Ethiopia, and Amharic is one of your official languages, because I think you have 9 in Ethiopia, 9 official languages, and I think that Amharic is the most spoken. So I start to research why this language, and Ethiopia is the host of African Union. People from Ethiopia usually they just speak their own languages. They don't speak other languages, so we have to talk with them to communicate. If we have not a language to communicate with them, how can we do? So I start do research to understand what happened. So in 1963, when the fathers which founds, who did OUA, Organization of United Africa, OUA, not African Union, it came late. OAU, Organization African Union. They decided to use languages which were spoken a lot in all African continents. So they took it. At that time, it was just one African language, which I can say now Arab is African language, and the others were colonization languages. It was Portuguese, Spanish, French, English. But you know how you call it, the treaty of African Union is written in Amarnya, and it's written in Giz. So I thought maybe Emperor Haile Selassie didn't want to, it was his idea, it was in Ethiopia, it was in Addis, maybe he didn't want to say this language too. He just wanted to not push, So then I thought at that time, because Swahili is one of African Union official language, so I thought that Swahili was at the beginning in 1963, but not. It's later I discovered that it was Alpha Omar Konare, the former president of Mali, who was president of African Union Commission, who put Swahili one of the official languages. So when I started my fight, I didn't know that. But when I knew that, I tried to call him, to talk with him, to understood how he did, because it's the administration, and the administration is very heavy in African Union, and in Ethiopia too. Your administration is very heavy. So I wanted to understand how he did, but I couldn't speak to him. I think he is very ill. I spoke to his chef de cabinet, to his daughter, but they say he's ill. We will call you back, and they didn't call me back. I think he is really ill. If not, he called me back. So now I said my argues to, when people say why, I say, okay, what I said first, we are in Ethiopia, we are in Addis. The courtoisie will be to have this language in African Union, one of the official languages of African Union. The second thing is that, we have some alphabets in Africa. There are a lot which disappear because of the invaders. There are some who stayed, and this alphabet, I say we have to protect our treasures. A language is a humanity treasure, and in Ethiopia, when I start my fight, you were around 80 or 100 million people. Now almost 150 million people in Ethiopia. Of course, it's a lot, but the world, we are more than 8 billions. Billions, you say milliard? Billions? It's billion. We are more than 8. So 150 millions is not a big strong to 8 million. That's why we have to protect, because 150 millions, if we don't pay attention, it could disappear. Because now you see we speak in English, more and more in English. It is the international language because it is the economic language. The languages, it's because of the economic that the languages prosper. It's not nothing else. And rich people in Africa, they send their kids to study usually in States, America, and the poor dream to be rich, so they send their kids in Western schools in their country. So it means that their languages is less and less taught, you see. So it's one of the argue. So it's to protect our treasures, and as I was saying, people exist because they have a language and a culture. If your language disappears and if your culture disappears, you don't exist anymore. So, and all the languages in Africa, we have to protect them. And especially this one in Ethiopia for African Union and for this very ancient alphabet. Some research, they find that they find Ge'ez written near hieroglyph. So it means that maybe it's more ancient than we thought, what we think. And our hieroglyph disappear now. So let's make Ge'ez survive, and Amharic too, by this way, through the African Union, through the African Union's official languages. Yeah, it's important that we have the colonized languages. I don't have anything against it, because we speak with, we use these languages, but it's important to have our languages too, and and to protect them. That's how I started, and how I started talking to people about that. Everywhere at this moment, since this moment, everywhere when I go in in meetings in Africa, out of Africa, in conferences, as a movie director too. I'm journalist, writer, and movie director. In movie directors' meetings, we had a great meeting in 2002. It was in South Africa, in Gauteng. Gauteng, if you don't know, is the true name of Johannesburg. Gauteng. And I start talking about it. I say, okay, we have all these languages, but I don't see Giz and Amarigna. And usually people laugh to me. They laugh, you are crazy. It's just the other thing, they say it's just Ethiopia is written and speak Amarigna. But now, as the Minister of Foreign Office told about it at African Union, now some friends start to call me and say, oh, congratulations, it was a good idea. I say, no, I'm in Addis. I'm waiting for you to come and laugh at me again. Come and laugh at me again. So at that time, too, in the 60s, yeah, they say that Amharic is just spoken in Ethiopia, so it's just one country. And one of my argues is now, as with the geopolitics and the migration, everything, Amharic is spoken in a lot of countries. In Sudan, in Egypt, in Djibouti, in Eritrea, and the Giz too, written in Sudan, in United States of America. You have in Los Angeles. Every time when I go in a little Ethiopia. When you enter in little Ethiopia, if you don't speak Amharic and you don't read Giz, you can't do anything because they taught it in schools, and universities taught Amharic and with green alphabet, Giz alphabet, in Germany, in England, in Israel, because one of our sisters and brothers went back to their roots in Israel, so they come from here, and they teach it too in Israel, and they speak it in Israel, and so now it's in a lot of countries. So no one could say again that it's just in Ethiopia. So we need to have a lot of argues to convince the one who are not convicted, because for me it's the evidence to have Amharic and this alphabet in African Union. Yeah. So I think that as the professors and what you asked, I think is my answer. So after, if you have some questions, we can talk about it. What did you say? Did I answer to you? What did you say?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you. My name is Ram. My name is Ram.
Excuse me, I forget something. When I started the campaign around 2009 to 2010, your former Prime Minister Meles, peace on him, was the Prime Minister here. I talked to Meles about it. I said, Excellency, I'm surprised. I'm shocked. There is no Amharic here, and how to take Amharic back in African Union. He said it's a good idea, but it's not the regulation. I said, Excellency, you know, the regulations are made to be transgressed. Regulation is never immutable, is never definitive. Please do something. And he said, okay. okay, thank you. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to think to see how we can do. I say, really, it's very important, Monsieur le Ministre, Premier Ministre, it's very important. He said, yes, I will. Then he became ill. Then what happened? He died. You know, he couldn't. We couldn't. We discussed about it one or twice. Then the illness came. So it's not because he was not interested. He was really interested. But you have to think as the Prime Minister too. You know, to think how to do that. Other countries cannot say it's because it's your language. It's because, and I think the important for me is that I'm not from your country. I'm not Ethiopian, I'm not Amharic, I'm not Oromo, I'm not Tigray. Even if people say here I look like a Tigray, that I look like Ethiopian, I'm not. So it means that it's not because of my own interest, linguistic interest that I want it. It is for my African interest. Of course, it's my interest, but it's African interest. It's for all Africa. So.